Hello, Catamounts. My name is Alexander Hoffman, and this is Chats with Cats presented by WeTV. In this series, we've been interviewing some of our amazing student athletes here at Western Carolina University. Today's guest is AC Carter of the women's basketball team. How are you, AC?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So we'll go ahead and jump into this. Go ahead and please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do on the basketball team.
My name is Aviance, also known as AC. I'm a graduate student from Atlanta, Georgia, majoring in sports management right now, and I finish up my degree next December, this upcoming December. I'm just newish, I would say, but fitting in just fine here in Cullowhee. Huge difference from Atlanta, but sometimes change is good. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of with that, one thing that we like to talk about a lot in these and like the fitting in with the teams is the family feel that happens in Western athletics. So I kind of wanted to hear your take on that, especially coming in for your final season here.
Yeah. Coming in, I was definitely nervous about being a graduate student because it's different from being being here 4 years and getting, adjusted to the system and just being around my team. But my teammates were very welcoming. They didn't treat me any different than anyone who's just been here their whole career. So it's definitely nerve-wracking, but the way they embraced me, the way the fans embraced me, it's been a blessing, I would say. And yeah, Coach Sip he is a dad, and so he gives off dad vibes. He's always checking in on us and just making sure we're safe. So it's not all about, just basketball. It's bigger than basketball. So.
And that's kind of a theme that we've heard as we interviewed Coach Sip, but also from our players this semester is that he does bring that immediately. It's very family oriented. So it's something I think is very important and kind of translates through the rest of the university. But with that long basketball season that ranges from early November all the way to mid-March, how do you stay motivated?
How do I stay motivated? I would say this year, definitely having it in my head that this is my last year of college basketball and being reminded of that by my coaches saying, empty the tank each day. Don't take it for granted. Come in with the mindset of you get to practice, not, I have to practice and I don't want to be here. Your body may be tired. You may be tired mentally, but I keep it in my head that this is my last shot and I want to give it my all. So that's definitely kept me motivated. My teammates and just the love for the game just kept me motivated.
Yeah, I think that opportunity to play at the D1 level, especially for an entire career, is something to not a lot of student athletes get, because even though a lot of people in high school think they're going to, they might end up D2, D3.
Yeah.
Which is still something, but it's very different than the D1 level.
Yeah, I would agree.
And kind of last question on the athletic side, if you don't mind, could you share a memorable moment from your athletics career here at Western?
I would say our first home game of the season, non-conference game, it was against Campbell. That was just an electric game from start to finish. I just remember feeling so much adrenaline in that game. The fans, the way they embraced me, I was nervous to make my debut because I was it's our first home game. I don't know what people think of me, but I think that started off our season just in the right way we needed it to.
Yeah, I think that Campbell game has been a pretty common theme between our players this semester, especially because last season it wasn't a win. And so turning that around for our returning players was...
And it definitely gave us motivation, hey, we're capable of, getting more wins this season. So.
Yeah, and already this is the most wins the team has had in, I think it's 10 years.
So,
definitely turning that around. But we are going to kind of switch gears and go from the student athlete side to students, because you are more than a student athlete. You are also a student and a person. You mentioned it earlier, but what are you studying and what made you choose that major?
I'm currently studying sports management, and I chose this major because I wanted to stay in the athletics realm. Even I'm still in the middle of trying to decide if I want to play professionally or not, but I know that I need to have a plan B. So I've been thinking a lot about working in sports operations or something in that realm, or sports management.
I think a lot of our student athletes kind of fall into that track, and it's because it's something that and you know that you want to continue. So I think that is really cool to see how many people go into those kinds of programs. How do you manage your time between academics and athletics, especially as a grad student?
I'm bored a lot of the times because my classes are online. So I'm either in my room or in the gym. But I think I manage it pretty well. I've been doing it 4 years before that with my undergrad, and then to be able to get my master's immediately after is a blessing too. But yeah, I try to find little things to do here and there, like go into Silva, go to a caf, or, just hang out. So, yeah.
Yeah, finding those little things very important. As also a member of the sports management master's program, it's can be, you get done and then you're done.
Yeah, it's not too much on you. The workload is manageable, very manageable.
Yeah, for sure. And then as a student athlete, not only is there a lot to consider physically, obviously, but there's also a lot to consider from like the mental aspect. So I did kind of want to dive into that and hear your take on mental health as a student athlete.
Yeah, I definitely think that mental health is very important. It's something that can't be ignored because it does dictate, your performance, obviously, but, how you are, like your well-being. So it is something that should definitely be, looked into, prioritized, because it affects everything. It affects everything. And I think coaches should, emphasize the importance of mental health. And yeah, I think it contributes to the team as well. If the players are fine, like the team is fine. But if there's one player who's struggling, we all struggling. We're one unit. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that the importance of like coaches recognizing that is like rising a lot recently. But it's still something that at a lot of schools isn't very present. And it's nice to see Western at least is kind of prioritizing that.
Yeah, sure.
And then how has being a student athlete shaped your college experience?
Has it shaped my I would say it's definitely kept me busy. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like to be, I don't want to say a NARP, but just a student. But I think it's allowed me to improve my time management skills, just learning how to balance like academics versus, my sport. So I think it's challenged me. It definitely challenged me, but I think for the better. And I think that it will set me up in the future.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of those life skills that are gained through being a student athlete, a lot of students don't necessarily get on the same level. And I think time management's probably the really huge one because, again, at least in undergrad, you're like constantly doing something.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. But we are going to shift into our lightning round. So just 4 short little questions with some short little answers from you. So what has been your favorite class at WCU so far?
Probably the class I'm in now is critical issues in sports because it's not like too much reading that I have to do. It's very much just a lot of writing, and I like to write. So
there we go. And do you have any pregame rituals or superstitions?
Pregame. Before every game, I have to listen to this one Jill Scott song. It is like an R&B song. It's so slow, but I just have to listen to it. It's called So Gone. But that's my superstition. What was the second part?
Or any like rituals or anything.
Yeah, that was probably my top one. Yeah. I think so random, but
whatever helps. I mean, as a leading scorer on our team, I think it's fair enough that you have any superstition. But what is your favorite sport to watch and favorite non-WCU team?
Favorite sport to watch? Basketball. You have to be basketball. And then my favorite, gotta be the Catamounts. I mean, I don't. Who do I like to watch?
Or any specific players or anything?
I like LeBron. I'm a LeBron fan. We're talking like NBA. Yeah, LeBron. Atlanta Dream. Gotta rep the city. So, yeah.
Here you go. Shout out LeBron. Not that he necessarily needs a shout out from us. And then do you have any favorite post-game meal?
Post-game meal? Kobe. I love sushi. Sushi's one of my favorite foods.
We've been hearing a lot of Kobe this season, so that's been great. But our last question to tie everything together, what is the best advice you've ever received as a student athlete? And kind of, in turn, what advice would you give to incoming student athletes?
The best advice I've ever been given. I would say to have a plan B, it's good to be passionate about your sport and like your performance, but always have a plan B. Figure out what you like to do. What else are you passionate about? Find some hobbies. Don't make your sport like you. Don't let your sport like place value on yourself. Like, don't make that the only thing that determines your value. And then the advice that I would give to an incoming student athlete is prioritize your mental health. Prioritize your mental health.
Yeah, definitely. Really good advice on both fronts. I don't think we've heard any of our athletes so far mention that having a plan B, but that is something that I don't think a lot of people would think about necessarily. But either way, very good advice. That does close us out for the interview. So thank you, AC, for coming on the show. Of course. We'll see you next time, and go Cats.
Okay.